Hello, and welcome to Dana Lange Out Loud, a podcast from Durham Magazine. Our host, Dana Lange, loves to feed people both literally and spiritually. She has a natural curiosity about what people love and what drives them to do the things that they do. And she always sees the funny side of everything. Dana lives with her husband and daughter in Hope Valley, writes a regular column for Durham Magazine, and volunteers for the food bank, among many other activities.
My guest today is Jennings Brody, owner of Parker & Otis, the fabulous restaurant and gift store in downtown Durham, as well as Chet Miller, a housewares and gift store on Paris Street. Jennings is also about to open a new baby and children's clothing store called Tiny, next to Chet Miller. Jennings, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. In a small world that is Durham, Jennings and I grew up in the same small town in Connecticut, but since she is so much younger than I am, we didn't know each other there.
Not true.
But what brought you to Durham?
So I was working in New York after college, and my best friend in the whole world from the town next door to us had moved down here and gotten married, and she was like, "It's great here. You should just come for a change." And I slept on their couch for 3 weeks, and I found a job, which was not necessarily the job that I wanted. I was selling men's shoes, or training to sell men's shoes at the Dillard's in the Carytown Center. While I looked for another job, and at the time, I had read an article about Fowlers Market in Chapel Hill, and they were hiring for a manager. So I interviewed and worked there for the next 3 years.
So that was where you started your food business? You had never been in the food business before that?
So I was running the Williams-Sonoma that's on 86th and Madison in New York. I had worked for them high school and college.
Okay.
So I knew I loved that, but the only rest work, I had worked I'd made sandwiches in a deli in Martha's Vineyard, which was actually my most favorite job I'd ever had. So, but I'd never run anything on the scale at Foster's before.
So you worked at Foster's for 3 years, and then what made you decide you could do Parker & Otis?
Well, for 6 years after that, I sold candy and gourmet foods for a distributor based in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I sold to Southern Season and Foster's and Fowlers, and that work of being alone in the car all day and driving around was not right for me, and I just missed so much the customer interaction. And I thought a lot about sandwiches and a lot about gifts because I went into lots of gift shops. And I was calling on Fowlers when they were ready to sell I think it was for the second time.
So people need to know that the space that Parker & Otis is in now used to be the Fowlers Market, which I used to shop at when it was there. It was a fabulous grocery store with the best butcher.
Yes.
And I was very sad when they closed, but
I think it was just ahead of its time. I just think the butcher shop was great. You could get fish. The cheese was amazing. Dan and Mimi just knew everything about specialty foods. I just think it was too early for there, maybe.
Right. Downtown wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
So you stopped selling candy and thought, I'm going to open this big restaurant?
Yeah. So we started looking at different places in downtown. And I didn't have any money, and so when we looked at upfitting an entire space, there was no way I was going to get a loan to do that, be able to get a loan. So we knew we had to find a place that had already been upfitted, and when Fowlers was turning over, that was an option. And we got our loan from Self-Help. We had been turned down by 4 banks previously. And we got $150,000. That's what we opened Parker & Otis on.
You're kidding.
No. So that's why it was people say when they went in, right at the beginning, that it was very sparse, but it literally is because we had no money.
Because you couldn't afford inventory at $150,000.
Right. So every month we made a little more money, and then we bought a little more stuff for the store. But maybe, I think about a year and a half in, somebody had told me about this gift market in Atlanta, and they were like, you'll get a kick out of it. There's a bunch of stuff you could buy. And I remember just being there for the first 48 hours and thinking, this is the deal. We're going to have sandwiches and coffee and all these presents. And so that's sort of how it came to.
Did you love to shop yourself? Is that why the gift market was?
Yeah, I love paper. That's kind of paper and books is where it kind of started, and cookbooks and
I've gotten great cookbooks at Parker & Otis. I agree. You have great. I love paper. I understand that sickness that is paper.
It is a sickness, yes.
Well, so you opened Parker & Otis, but you're a Yankee girl, And a lot of the food you make is good Southern food. I mean, the pimento cheese, they don't have that in Connecticut.
No.
How'd you learn to do that?
I cooked it. So when I was working in outside sales for 6 years, I would literally drive, I was covering all of central and eastern North Carolina. So I'd drive to Jacksonville for the day. So I'd have like 5 hours round trip in the car to think about what are we going to have for dinner. I listened to a lot of like Splendid Table and things on NPR. And so I thought about food a lot. So yeah, I guess we just started like practicing things in the kitchen.
And now you've expanded, so Parker Notice is almost 10 years old.
Almost 10.
That's hard to believe.
Crazy.
Because you've seen a lot of change in downtown Durham.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, you really came in at the right time. And now, last year you opened Chet Miller.
I did. It'll be a year on October 25th.
And it's mostly housewares and paper.
And gifts. It has a lot more men's gifts, and we joke that it has all the fragile things. Like, we sell VHRE there. We're the only VHRE dealer in Durham. But at Parker & Notice, we just, as much as I think it'd be so lovely to have all that tableware, there's so many tiny hands that things.
That was very smart. So you got a store that's not good for children,
yes, exactly.
A store that's great for children, and now you're going to open a store about children?
Yes, that is true. Yes.
So Tiny, I love the name. Is it going to be clothes and gifts?
Yeah. My goal is that you would be able to find clothes and gifts for 0 to 8 about.
Right.
I have my daughter just turned 5, so you never know, it may start to accelerate.
You get to tweens eventually.
I feel like we sell a ton of kids stuff at Parker & Notice, and that category has really expanded. But I think being able to be more specialized in it will be good, and we'll have story time, and I want to be able to have like interactive classes there, and I just think it'll be a fun addition to downtown.
I think it sounds great. I love stores. I don't really like shopping, but I really don't like shopping online, and you are bucking the trend by opening storefronts. Is it going okay? I mean, Parish Street, where Chet Miller is, you opened and it went from a 2-way street to a 1-way street because of the big building they're building across the way from you. Has that hurt you?
It has been a challenge. The impact of the construction on Parish came on a lot sooner than we thought it would.
Right.
But I think opening any retail store has all of its challenges, and I feel like on one hand we had a leg up because we were able to promote Chet opening through Parker & Notice. Like,
right.
All the men and women who work there, were telling customers about it. So, and the community has been so amazing downtown to embrace it, like really wanting some more retail down there. Because we have such great retailers already down there, and I think it just like helped fill in some of the gaps. But it has been a challenge. But I think that adding Tiny to that will be like maybe another reason to come to the street.
A lot, and then they can always go over to Loaf and get their bread.
I was joking the other day that Loaf is 2 doors down one way, and the parlor is a couple doors down the other way, and I literally put my freshman 15 back on, right? Because between those two, what they're both doing is so amazing. So
it's good to be part of that downtown community,
and all so nice. Yeah, it's so good.
And now we finally have bodega, so people that live downtown, they can come to you and get a sandwich or a soup or a salad or something. But if they want to cook something at home, finally,
they have a place to stop.
They have a place to stop,
yeah.
And I think it's wonderful to make downtown an actual livable. It's not just a destination. You can live there and survive. Well, I think Tiny's so exciting. When is it going to open?
So I decided yesterday it's going to open on October 29th.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so you can celebrate with Halloween.
Yes. So that Saturday it will open.
So you're filling it with winter clothes.
Yeah.
And get a whole season's worth. Yeah. Well, it's also great because as someone my age, I'm now at the buying baby presents for my friends' grandchildren.
You are my target customer.
Right. Grandmothers are the best audience for because it's not the same as when people, they put something on a registry at Buy Baby. Not that, and I just look at a picture of it online, I want to feel it, and I want to look at something and say, "Ooh, I think that would be great for so and so." And
that's how I am. So, and it will evolve just like Chet did. I mean, I'm sure there will be things. I think that's one of the hardest things to learn as a retailer. It's harder for me. I'll buy things and go, this is fantastic. Everyone's going to love this. Everyone needs this. But then no one wants it, right? And so I think over the first 6 months, it will definitely, maybe people will want more hair clips and maybe people will want more shoes and we'll work with that.
Well, you've obviously learned well at Parker Notice.
Because I've made some hard mistakes, but yes.
It doesn't appear that way, Jennings.
Well, thank you.
It doesn't. And I mean, you can't, you seem to always be busy, and there's always fun things to look at and buy and of course to eat.
Thank you.
It's quite a dangerous place to go with all that candy. I now understand why you have all that beautiful candy, because you came from the candy world.
I did, yes.
It's
that was
all
my first passion.
It's all making sense. Yeah. Well, great. Well, now are the people that work at Tiny going to have cute shirts like the people that work at Parker Notice?
They will have aprons.
Aprons.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'll be great, because there's nothing I like more than those bacon T-shirts that they wear at Parker Notice. Well, I wish you luck with Tiny and that everyone gets to know Chet Miller as a fun place to buy gifts. And my problem is when I buy gifts for me, because there's so many great things there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennings Brody, for being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you.